Yes, the Pacers signed Mac McClung to his first standard NBA deal. And yes, they cut him less than 2 weeks later. On paper, that sequence looks bonkers. Here's why it happened, and why a lot of fans rightly call it nuts. What actually happened? Indiana announced a multi-year, non-guaranteed deal for McClung late last month, a rare full NBA contract after years of two-way and Exhibit 10 stints. 5 to 10 days later, the Pacers reversed course and waived him, replacing the roster spot with a veteran point guard, Monte Morris. Multiple outlets reported the move as a quick flip driven by roster need. Why the transaction looks so strange? The shock comes from the mismatch between McClung's recent production and the abruptness of the cut. In the G League, he's been a bona fide star, NBA G League MVP, consistent 20-plus scoring outings, and playmaking numbers that suggest more than just dunk contest theatrics. He also just won his third straight slam dunk contest, a rare and high-profile accomplishment that keeps reminding NBA decision-makers and fans of his athletic ceiling. When a player with that resume gets a standard NBA contract 1 week and is gone the next, people understandably ask, what gives? Performance versus opportunity. Put bluntly, McClung has shown he can score efficiently in bursts at the NBA level when given minutes. In limited stints with Indiana, he averaged roughly 6 points in about 11-12 minutes per game, numbers that scale favorably on a per 36 basis and suggest rotational value as a scoring guard off the bench. Those per-minute returns make it easy to argue he's at least as useful as many players occupying guaranteed roster spots around the league. The roster and timing realities, the part that explains but doesn't excuse, roster moves are rarely about pure talent. The Pacers' immediate context, injuries, the need for steady veteran ball handling, contract structures, and guaranteed money explains their thinking. Reports say Indiana wanted Monte Morris's steady, low-turnover floor leadership and experience. Morris fills a different, more traditional PG role than McClung. The Pacers' medical picture and short-term win objective apparently trumped experimentation with a younger spark plug. Also, the contract was reportedly non-guaranteed, which makes a hard decision easier to execute quickly. That combination of need and cheap flexibility is why teams will sign a player and cut him 9 days later. But why it still feels nuts? Even accounting for roster logistics, the move stings because McClung's proven G League dominance and efficient per-minute NBA output aren't small achievements. He's not an anonymous fringe player. He's a 3-time dunk champion, a G League MVP, and someone who consistently forces coaches to answer the question, if not him, who? Many teams are sitting on players who offer less upside and worse per-minute production, so when the Pacers choose a veteran profile over a high-upside young scorer, it raises legitimate questions about evaluation priorities around the league. What this means for McClung, and for other fringe stars short-term. He's a free agent and will likely draw interest because of his recent serviceable NBA minutes and standout G League tape. Long term, this is a reminder of how roster construction, salary timing, and positional fit often trump raw metrics and highlight reels. For players like McClung, the path is still there. More teams than ever are willing to gamble on scoring guards, but the window can be tiny and mercilessly timed. The Pacers' cut is explainable in transactional terms, but still feels absurd because McClung has shown statistically and spectacularly that he belongs on an NBA floor. The move reveals the uncomfortable truth of roster life. Being better on paper doesn't always protect you from being the odd man out, and that, for fans who watch his highlights and his box scores, is exactly why this feels so nuts. If you want, I can turn this into a 60-second social post, a longer feature with quotes from G League coaches, or add a quick per 36 statistical comparison showing exactly how McClung stacks up versus a handful of guaranteed contract guards. Which would you prefer?